Hi guys, this is Sherman Carlos. On today's video, I'm going to give you my thoughts and review of Loki Season 2, Episode 2, Double O Loki, with a side of TVA green pie, lemon green pie. So here we go, guys. I love this second episode of Season 2 of Loki because for the first time in the season, in the second season, we got to travel. We got to travel back in time, or to a certain time zone in history. Like I said before, at the end of my review of the first episode of this second season of Loki, OB and Mobius were they are trying to locate Renslayer and Miss Minutes because besides the one that remains, meaning Kang, that can avert a time branch collapse of the TVA, thanks to Sylvie, which I'll get into the Sylvie, and I will get to the Sylvie equation in this episode here in a bit. So again, I'll get to the Sylvie part. The Sylvie part in this episode. In this episode here in a bit, but let me scratch that. I'll get to the Sylvie part right now. Like I previously told you in my previous review of episode 1, I told you that thanks to Sylvie killing the one that remains time variant, or Kang's variant that controlled the TVA. The whole TVA basically just turned into a complete ball of insanity and chaos. Well, the other part of insanity is that, like I said, just like I did with Sylvie in my previous review, the only one that can fix the time branch overload at the TVA is the one that remains, or the second option, or the second alternative, and almost second in command of the ones that can stop this collapse of the TVA, thanks to the time branch overload, timeline branch overload in the TVA is, of course, Miss Minutes. And Miss Minutes, and of course, at the end of the first episode, OB and Mobius and obviously Loki were something that caught their attention, that 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 Renslayer took a timeline, a TVA or TVP, or the Time Authority Police, the Time Variant Authority Police time pager. That is a pager that gives the location, that gives the TVA your time, the time that you're stuck in, or the time that you are living in, and where you are, and where are you? Where is your house, and what and what have you? But again, going back to the second alternative best option, Miss Minutes and Renslayer were basically went Renslayer went rogue. Renslayer went rogue. She went rogue. She disappeared. By the middle of season 1. She basically had quit her position, her spot in the TVA, and she basically disappeared. At this point we didn't have a clue where she was, or if she was with someone, or if she went rogue and left by herself. Well, OB said that yes, we need the one who a variant of the one who remains, aka better known as Kang the Conqueror, or our best second option if we can't find them would be Miss Minutes, or at some capacity, Rogue Slayer. Well, apparently, X5, one of the TVAP, or the Time Variant Police Authority, one of the officers, which I'll get to, had given Renslayer, had given his time timeline beeper, or timeline pager, and that's how Renslayer was able to obviously say, I quit the TVA and I'm going to somewhere. Of course, we didn't. Of course, we didn't. We don't know where she went, but we know that somehow she got convinced by Mr. Minutes too. Renslayer got convinced by Miss Minutes somehow to accompany her. Basically, or in other words, Renslayer got convinced by Miss Minutes, and by saying Miss Minutes, this is Miss Minutes saying, I want to go too. I I I I feel like I I need to show you something, Renslayer, and I know who the person that might help us take over and control the both of us, or three of us, the three of us, again, over the TVA. So, somehow, Miss Minutes convince Renslayer to basically say, "Can I be your partner in crime?" Miss Minutes said, "Can I be your partner in crime?" to Renslayer, and basically Renslayer said, "Oh, okay, so that's the whole gist of it." So somehow, but anyway, and here comes the X5 part. the X5 part. Again, at this will all tie in a minute. So at the beginning of this wonderful episode, we see our good old friend and pal and god of mischief, Loki, and his somewhat frenemy sometimes, Mobius. They're in London. They're in London. I want to say. I'm sorry. I want to say somewhere, or they're in London. I want to say the year is 1968. Yes, 1968. That's my guess. But you guys can check me on that. But anyway, so knowing that they need, so both Loki and Mobius, knowing that they need the location of the timeline pager of Renslayer, they knew of the guy or the TVAP officer that probably gave him his timeline pager or timeline pager. Well, that this officer is X5. X5. Apparently, he went rogue too, or somehow he got convinced. He got convinced by Miss Minutes, and probably somewhat by Renslayer too, as well, to go rogue against the values of the TVA. Well, going back to London, going to the London part again. That's why Loki and Mobius were in London, to obviously get or retrieve information from X5, and probably get the location of the time of Renslayer and her borrowed or robbed timeline pager, and also in tow get X5 to confirm that. Get X5 to confirm that Renslayer wasn't alone, that she took Miss Minutes with her. Well, in London at the time that in London at the time that Loki and Mobius traveled to London. It was 1968, like I said, maybe. But they were in London. But they realized that they were at a movie premiere at a red carpet. And here's the cool thing: that Loki didn't have his usual his God of Mischief helmet. And basically, anytime that you traveled to, you would be addressed accordingly. Well, in this case, since it was 1968 London, and since it was a movie premiere of some capacity, Loki and Mobius looked very sharp, very dapper. Basically, Loki looked like James Bond. That's why in my note title for this episode, notes title, which I'll basically put in the name of this video. That's why I put Double Loki, because he looked like James Bond 007. But anyway, both Mobius and Loki looked very dapper, and they realized, and eventually they had located, or they ran into X5. Well, X5 looked very good. Life had treated him very good. He didn't look TVA-ish, and he looked very happy. He apparently he was the star of this movie. Apparently, he was a major star in the movie that the premiere was all about. But Loki and Mobius and Loki ran into him and said, Hi, X5, how are you? Nice to see you. We're glad that you're doing so good with your life. But we need, but seriously, we need you to give us the location of your timeline pager that you had access to before you went rogue on us in the TVA. And we know that you gave your beeper or your timeline pager of the TVA to Ren Slater. And right now the situation in the TVA is really bad. So we need the location of your time pager. But of course, X5 is like, guys, I'm a star. I'm a star. I'm a famous movie movie star. I forgot about the TVA, and I don't remember, and I don't know where and when my timeline pager with Renslayer and Miss Minutes and Toe are in or at now. So forget the TVA, but I don't have it. Then X5 said, my name is not X5. X5 here in London 1968, or maybe it's Brad. It's Brad. Brad X5, or just Brad. Well, after hearing that from X5, Loki and Mobius were like, okay, seriously, where is your timeline pager from the TVA? And where in the world and what time are Renslayer and Miss Minutes are in now? Then after giving Loki a bunch of excuses and Mobius as well, Brad X5 Brad aka X5, he saw his opportunity when Loki and Mobius got distracted, and he ran away from them. In turn, this created a whole high basically a major important high of intensity importance of a foot chase. Well, the chase was very epic to my part. But anyway, along the way or during the chase, Brad X5 had found a dead end. And obviously, Loki, using his God of Mischief magic, duplication magic of himself, was able to play with Brad X5's emotions, and basically then Mobius was able to subdue or lack of a better word, Brad X5 basically said, reluctantly, said, fine, I won't go with you, but you will have to force me to go with you and help you to the TVA. So that's basically what Mobius and Loki did. Basically, they were able to capture Brad X5, or X5 at this point, X5 in the TVA, and they took him to an orange room, an orange big room, an orange interrogation room. In this in this TVA orange interrogation room, Loki was like, tell us what you know. Tell me and Movies what you know. What do you know about Renslayers and Miss Minute's whereabouts? If you tell us, I will go easy on you. We will go me and Mobius will go easy on you. Mostly Mobius. I'm not sure about me, but Mobius will go easy on me. And then Brad X5 said something very surprising, and I guess guys, I guess maybe you have read it in the comics, or somewhat in the Marvel comics, in the TVA, in the creation of the TVA, that basically Brad X5 said to Mobius, Mobius, you Mobius had a life. You had your timeline, meaning you had a life before becoming a high-ranking member of the team. Not a higher-ranking member, but a top guy, a top guy in the TVA. And I know, I could see it in your eyes, Mobius, that you wish that you could be, or go back in time and stay in your timeline, where you would see your family again, if indeed you have a family, but you're instead of being in your timeline zone at home, if you do have a home, you're here, Mobius, you're at the TVA, being a total you're being just, you're horrendous. I hate, basically, X5 said, you are nothing. You're worthless. For lack of better words. Then Mobius went crazy. Or Mobius went, and that really intrigued. That is the intriguing part, because we haven't heard. We just know. All we know about Mobius is that he works at the TVA, and he works to keep to keep Loki under control. But we did not know that yes, he's a regular person, meaning that he had a timeline of his own. Before the TVA was created. So that was very cool to know a little bit more of the TVA, but of Mobius before the TVA. But like I said, when Mobius heard that, he went. That really hurt his mental state. Hurt his hurt his hurt his confidence psychologically. And being the voice of reason for the first time, or kind of the first time, Loki said, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here and calm you down, Mobius, before you lose your cool and boring and inadequate way. Boring before you lose your boring, controlling me way. And so Mobius and Loki went to the TVA cafeteria where we realized that Mobius has been to the cafeteria many times. He told Loki this, that every time that he feels stressed out or when he feels like he can't handle a situation, he goes to the cafeteria and has a piece of lemon green of TVA lemon green pie to calm him down. So that's what Loki and Mobius did have a calming and soothing piece of TVA lemon green pie. Now, going now. Let's get into the Sylvie Loki equation in this episode 2 of this season of season 2. Just like I said before, just like I said in my previous review, Loki got stuck in a black hole of time because of Sylvie's impulsive killing of the one who remains time variant that was controlling the TVA. Well, at the end of my review, Loki had seen or saw a glimpse of his good old girl time variant of himself, Sylvie, in the elevator when he was running to the center of his black hole of time that Sylvie created this mess. Well, after having a calming piece of pie, after having this calming piece of lemon green pie, Mobius and Loki were able to locate, or were able to determine where Sylvie was. She was somewhere here in the U.S. working at a McDonald's, basically. basically, basically making basically being a cashier at a McDonald's and basically taking orders for Big Macs and what have you, and chicken nuggets. So Loki and Mobius went to to the to Sylvie's timeline whereabouts, or where she was, the year and the time that she was in. I want to say 1970. I'm gonna say 1972 or 1973. Well, when they got there, when they got there, Mobius and Loki didn't come alone. They had Brad X5 with as a companion slash negotiation hostage slash we will make you a deal. We will make you a deal if you accompany us to get some. Well, Loki got into McDonald's, was able to basically he got into McDonald's, and he said, and he saw Sylvie, and then Sylvie was like shocked to see that Loki was there, and that he had found her. And then Loki approached her and said, "Hi, Sylvie." And then Sylvie was like, "What are you doing here? I'm done with you. I'm done with you. I killed the one who remains." Then Loki said, "Yes, you did, and yes, you did. But because of you, my good friend Sylvie, thanks to what you did to the one who remains, or a variant of the one who remains, you got me stuck in a black hole of time. And by the way, because of you, as well, you making me get stuck in a black hole of time, the whole TVA is crumbling, and the machine that controls the load of timeline branches is about to collapse. Therefore, the whole TVA is about to collapse. If the TVA collapses as a whole, you won't be working where you're at here anymore. You will be just like the rest of us, meaning Loki, Mobius, and X5, and everyone in the TVA will be dead. Of course, after hearing this, Sylvie was like, "Okay, the TVA is the reason I hate the TVA. I don't care about the TVA. you shouldn't care, Loki. You shouldn't care about the TVA too. You're right, Sylvie. Loki said. I shouldn't care about the TVA, but I care about the people in the TVA. And I care about the timelines in the TVA. So, after some hard convincing, and a little bit of tough talk, Sylvie was like, okay, fine, I'll go with you. Then, then, when Sylvie and Loki and Mobius and Brad X5 got back to the TVA, Loki did something that we are all accustomed to. He locked himself into the TVA orange interrogation room with himself and with himself and of course Brad X5, or since they're back in the TVA, X5, and Mobius and obviously Loki had a machine, had a very, it was kind of a vacuum, I want to say Marvel's version of a 1960s vacuums. But this vacuum wasn't for vacuuming. It was basically a vacuum of a box vacuum. Basically, what Loki did was basically create with this machine, when he turned it on with this Marvel's version of 1960s vacuum, to create a box. But then X5 realized that this box vacuum wasn't your regular vacuum or your regular vacuum machine. He got really scared, and basically what this machine does is basically create a big box, a big orange box. And then Loki started interrogating him and was asking him, where are Renslayer and Miss Minutes, and of course your timeline pager. And of course X5 was like, I have no idea, along the lines of I have no idea, and he was being difficult. Well, then Loki was like, okay, I'll turn this machine. So basically, what the machine does, this new Marvel's version of the TVA's interrogation torture vacuum machine device. Basically, it makes a box, and what it does is it increases the box's size, width, and dimension. And the bigger or wide or smaller it gets, the person that is inside doesn't have room to breathe, or room to breathe, or to talk to, or to speak, and or to exist. So basically, the bigger or smaller the box gets, you're basically being erased from existence. So yes, it's Loki's box of fun. Box of fun. So after a while of increasing the size of X5's box to such a degree that X5 said, fine, I'll tell you, or I'll tell you where I'll tell you where you can find where you can find Renslayer and Miss Minutes before you disappear me with the box with the box, basically. And then X5 gave me gave up or obliged the information to Loki and Mobius, and he told them that Renslayer can be located somewhere in the year of 1868. So then, with that information, Loki and Mobius went back to OB in the time branch controlling room, and they told them, we now know where Renslayer and Miss Minutes are in what time, but then they realized that we would see then they would get OB, just like I said at the end of my last review. OB and Mobius and Loki would catch their big break. big their big break, and they would locate where and time Renslayer minutes were in. Meanwhile, regarding Sylvie was like not having none of it regarding she didn't want to be in the TVA, and she was like, I am going to go back to working at McDonald's and just leave me alone, Loki and Mobius and the whole rest of you of the TVA. I despise you. I don't want to hear nothing about you. And Loki was like, Sylvie, come on. You have to believe me. If we don't find another variant of the one who remains that you killed the whole TVA and your whole time and your whole new timeline and new life will disappear and will be sucked out. And that's how episode 2 of Loki season 2 ends. So with that, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a like and let me know in what restaurant would you work in if you were Sylvie, other than McDonald's? Where would you work at? At what fast food restaurant? At what fast food restaurant would you work at if you were Sylvie, other than McDonald's? So thank you, guys. Leave a like, and again, leave me a comment and let me know in what restaurant would you work at if you were Sylvie, other than McDonald's. Thank you. Bye.